Hey, it's Cat Paterson here of straighttalkingginger.com, and I'm a partner in crime to gutsy small business owners, and I love helping you to 6-day-proof your income. One of the things that I love to do about that is branded books, and this is branded books Blethers, which is always a little bit tricky to say. And today I've got the wonderful Cathy Rogers. Welcome, Cathy. She's been in our community for over a month now, a couple of months. Maybe a couple
of months, yeah.
There you go. Wonderful. Really hit the ground running when she learned about the books and what could be done with them. So, Cathy, welcome. I'm so glad to be able to chat to you today. How are you?
Hi, Kat. It's lovely to see you in person. It's really nice to sort of actually have you there.
Yeah, everything's quite virtual these days, isn't it?
Yes. Although you're very good at being virtual. I mean, a question and it's straight back, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm a classic introvert, folks. I kind of lurk around the edges of community and answering questions, but you don't often see me on camera, that's for sure. So Cathy, let's tell us a little bit about you and your business or businesses.
Well, I'm really an optician. That's my real job. Yeah. And I'm coming up towards not being an optician anymore and looking to build a career or an income stream going into sailing off into the sunset. And I thought, well, I might as well specialise in sailing off into the sunset because I love to cruise and I love to travel and I love the sea and I love everything about it. And I went to one of Shah's courses, which was, make passion profit. Well, that's it then, we'll do that. So it's a big world, the cruise industry, and actually very hard to break into in a lot of ways, but I found a little niche as an author, and I've written some cruise books which are good. So it's called Port Explore, and we're specialising in information for cruisers who want to go ashore and do things without paying for expensive cruise company trips.
Great, so little insider kind of insights about when you land.
Yeah, and hand-holding and sort of debunking of myths and, sort of generally cruise companies are quite naughty about saying, oh, well, we're going to get to Le Havre, but it's very, very difficult to get off the ship there, and really you want to pay for a trip into town, and, people are paying €15 for something they could walk in 3 minutes, and it's that kind of thing. When you've done it yourself, you're like, no, come on, guys. But when you're on the ship and it's your first time, you just believe what you're told. So it's that kind of thing. And obviously I'm not alone. There's loads of other people that have this information, but it's just I chose to decide to try and get it out there. And I've done some cruise planners, and I work with Cruise Addicts magazine, and I've been writing articles for them and writing articles for Silver Travelers.
I love it. So completely immersed in that world of cruising and everything that goes with it. So what's intriguing to me is, so given that you've got all that information and you've already made books, why in the heck did you see my little workshop and thought, I'm going to jump in and join that too? Because you've got probably more knowledge than I've got.
Well, because I hadn't done any publishing at all. So that was the first thing. I thought, wow, you could do this yourself. Oh, and then also, of course, it was the timing because the cruise industry collapsed in about February, starting in the Far East. All everyone stopped letting cruise ships in, and there were people stranded and people, ill on cruise ships. And so at the moment it's an industry in complete crisis. No cruise ships going anywhere at all at the minute. So really no point trying to continue kind of going, oh, and when you get to Le Havre you can or anything else, and people are quite depressed about it all. So I thought, well, actually, if I do a notebook that says, hijacks one of the cruise hashtags that's going at the moment, sort of hashtag we will cruise again or hashtag we will be back. I thought I could do that, and then it gives me something else to talk about, and I can just sit here quietly in lockdown. I mean, I wasn't in lockdown, I was actually working in my optician hat on, but I can sit within lockdown world and say things. And it's been brilliant. It's been absolutely great. And it's follow the course, really easy to do. Got it, love it. Could use all the pictures that I had anyway.
Brilliant. Yeah, so you've obviously got a catalogue there of wonderful pictures, because the one thing you need to go and check out Cathy's books, whether you know anything about cruising or not, the photographs, the pictures are just delicious. I mean, yeah, we love a prop. We also love a prop, so feel free to show any of your props.
Yes.
But beautiful sun.
That's my favourite.
Yeah.
Actually, the one that's on the wall behind me is my favourite.
Stunning.
It's a lighthouse, and I just caught it coming out of New York, and I just caught it when the light actually swung round on the lighthouse. But unfortunately, it's just...
Is it just too
low
short?
Down in the shot, and it just won't work. And I tried reversing it, and then I thought, well, anybody who knows, that will be shocked that I've reversed the lighthouse, because it'll be the wrong way round on the... So I thought, no, I can't do that. People will have a go. So yes. Yes, the lighthouse scandal.
But that's what I love about it, is you can take your own pictures, and actually I would always encourage people to use your own images, so that you don't fall foul of copyright or trademarks or any of those kind of things, because you need to watch what you put out there. But yeah, so you had this kind of wealth of pictures and images, coupled with the learn how to do the behind the scenes setting up a book and everything, and just put out
just went on. And so if I show you, so that's the original book.
Oh yeah.
This is our, that was our artwork for that, which got kind of slightly changed as we went along. So what I've done so I made a new one.
Oh, I love the bands of colours. That's really effective.
But that's not Canva. That was the using the Amazon cover thing.
Oh, okay. So let me drop
Amazon
into that.
Cover creator.
Okay. So for people who don't know, what happens is I teach people to use Canva, but actually Amazon within their own setup have a cover creator, which allows you to play around with some colours and kind of add some things in. And actually it's quite basic, but it just shows you what you can create from that out there. I mean, that's really effective, the colours and the bands.
So the first one I did was their cover creator as well, which is like a picture on the front, but then you get a plainish back, which I didn't like, but I really quite liked.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where it goes across.
Yeah. So
and then I've got the same little boat kind of in I don't know if you can see.
Oh, yep. So
watermark.
Yeah, I love that, and that's what sets interiors apart a little bit. So even when you've got a niche like cruising, which is incredible, I always say to people, I teach you how to make the basics to start with. And as Cathy said, it takes you through step by step, and it's literally a little lined notebook to get you up and running. But once you get the basics, would you agree, Cathy? You just your imagination kind of just sparks, and you think, oh, I could do this and could do this. And add
I'm really happy, because I am a bit shiny thing. I'm a bit and well, for example, so you said the other week about niches and the Kakaibo.
Oh yeah, the budgeting, the Japanese budgeting,
which I'd never heard of. So I thought, I'm going to have a look at that. And which was fine. Only in fact, my son-in-law is into bullet journaling and gridding and stuff. So I was meant to be doing a bullet point journal for him, because he had asked me to. Because he said, you should do, they're much younger and funkier, and you should do one of those.
That's your tool.
That's me. Turns out, actually, I think he might be right, because I've sold more of them. Now it's out.
Yeah, dot grid or bullet journaling again is a trademark thing, so we talk about dot grid, but it's a bullet journal, and they're so popular. So yeah, you could.
That's brilliant to use. I'd never used one.
Oh, they're great.
And actually, funnily enough, again going back to Shah, and suddenly my club plan looked in my club planner, and that's got, because I knew one of those, and that's got it. I was like, see, I'm right on trend. I'm amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can create as many different interiors, or find out what works. And as you say, if you've suddenly hit on this dot grid, well, wait a minute, I could put different covers on that and sell the dot grids instead.
So I've gone off with that the first one of those isn't anything to do with cruise at all, apart from that, the fact I still kept the Port Explore press thing on it. And so a cruise blogger who's following me on the Instagram thing.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Just sort of went, oh, I love dot grids. Oh, I'll buy it. And then she bought it. And then she did me a little Instagram story about how she got it, and she flicked through it for me and how lovely it was. And she sent me a private message and said, oh, I'm gonna really get on this, and I'm going to show it in use. And I was really very generous of her, actually, because she's a big following. I mean, she's got...
Isn't it interesting? This is one of the questions that comes up a lot of times in our community. It's how do I sell my books? How do I reach people? How do I market? And there's lots of different ways to market, you know, what channels we use. But what Cathy's done so cleverly is just keep putting it out there, keep putting it on your Instagram profile. And the blogger approached you to say, wait a minute, this is fantastic. Let me do a little showcase. Yeah. And when you get that contact, because I think sometimes we can go into our Instagram, and I certainly don't have a lot of followers on Instagram, but people are watching. Even if nobody comments, people are watching what you're doing.
I mean, funnily enough, I haven't got that many followers. So I've got, what I've got is, I've got Port Explore, which has got about 1,200. So that's a, you know, decent, which is why I get asked to cruise events and stuff, because I've got, on Facebook, I've got about 2,000 as well. Yeah. So that's why I get the label that I'm allowed to go. Yeah. And we set up a sort of thing called Port Explore Concierge, which was to help people sort of a done for you rather than a do it yourself version, which hasn't really gained any traction, and at the moment certainly wouldn't. Yeah. But it had about 50 followers, I suppose, and I thought, well, I think I'll just change it. I hadn't realised before that you could change the names of things.
Yeah.
So I changed the name of it to Port Explore Notebooks, and I think I'm going to change it actually now back to Port Explore Books.
Yeah.
Because it's probably a better thing, but I'll let it run a bit longer. And so it just went over. So now I think I'm up to about 150, 200, something like that. Not massive.
Oh, but still enough.
But still, enough. And it's amazing the people you pick up. I think especially if you're careful about what hashtags you follow.
It's all about the hashtags, isn't it? And if you've been using really popular hashtags, particularly related to the cruise industry, that's what people are searching for. Particular influencers and bloggers, that's what they're searching for. They've got lists set up that's all they search for. They don't scroll through Instagram like most of us do. They're searching for specific things that are related to their niche. And I love that a blogger. But did you not tell me you've now got 2 reached out?
I got 2, yes. And so yes, the other one liked the original notebook, and she liked it because of the picture. So she messaged and said, oh, it's so beautiful. And yeah, so she's been brilliant. She's sent pictures of her using it, and she keeps every so often will just tag me in things.
Yeah.
Tagging is quite important. Yeah. When I look at having got these 2 sort of really big time people in our little world, I've been looking at what they do, and they tag people a lot, and not really with any great relevance other than just they tag you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So sometimes she'll tag me on something that's got the notebook in it, but more often than not she just tags me in her little group of people she's tagging, which is very nice.
That really helps, and that's a lovely thing for people to do, and I have to say that's where branded books has really benefited from that. So obviously I encourage people to use hashtags branded books when they're posting anything about their books, and it means then that people are looking for that, and some people will tag me and thank me for the course. That does an immense amount of things for sales. So just keeping that in mind, both from your own point of view, if you buy something from somebody, go in and thank them and tag them, because you're doing them a great service, and it helps with all that kind of small businesses and helping people to get sales and to get found and to get noticed in a really organic way. But yeah, the power of hashtags and tagging when you've hit on the right thing as part of your marketing strategy is a really clever thing to kind of get involved in. So I love the fact that they're really generous about that. Some people can be a lot funny, but they're being really generous about it and bought your books and showcased them because they genuinely love them and they genuinely see the benefits.
Which is great. So that's nice. And I think generally Instagram, I mean, the thing you do a lot of is Pinterest, isn't it? Which I haven't really got a handle on. Well, the problem is, this is where my world's a bit confusing sometimes, because I have got an Instagram for the opticians, because it's such a visual thing. So lots of, lots of, pretty coloured glasses and stuff like that. So, and I haven't quite worked out how to have two me's or two separate me's or whatever. So it's all a bit of a muddle. And because I know it's a muddle, I'm a bit embarrassed of it, and I kind of just
kind of step back from it. But that's the thing, I always say, we could be doing every platform. Pinterest works for me because I've taken the time to set it up. It's been a long game getting that set up, but pick a channel. Just start with 1 or 2 channels and just tell people about what you're doing. I mean, what Cathy did really well is some of your graphics on your Instagram stories were just gorgeous. They stopped the scroll. If they came up, you would actually stop and pay attention. And again, having been somebody who's never been on a cruise, I suddenly thought, oh God, this is amazing. So it really stops the scroll for people when
thank you. Yeah.
Clever. So I would keep doing that. It's clearly working for you. And
I'm using on the notebooks particular, I'm using a lot of sunsets, because sunsets seem to be, they're an easy thing to photograph on a cruise, because you see a lot of them and they're big. And they are things people do because there's a difference between searching for something and actually following something. So when you look at hashtags, if it says followed by, that means someone actually follows the hashtag sunset photography or sunsets or dawn at sea or all sorts of things. It's amazing what people do follow.
Absolutely.
And then that means they automatically get shown anything that's got that hashtag on it.
Yes.
So
when you've used your cruise specific hashtags, your blogger people will have had them set up that they're following them, because I follow certain hashtags so that I see everything that's happening, and it's the notifications that I get first. And that's the difference from just going from playing on Instagram and posting to actually there's a wee bit of a strategy behind it and starting to look at hashtags and what you're interested in. And again, it's why I encourage people to use the hashtag branded books hashtag, because it means then that everything's filtered into the one place, and anybody who's searching for that can find it really easily, and they'll always find a link back to branded books and the workshop and be able to get involved in that. So tell me about your experience. So you joined us a few months ago. You've just done immense things with all your wonderful, beautiful notebooks, and now moving into the world of dot grid / journaling, loving it. What's been your experience of being specifically in the community in the last few months? So to be clear to people, I've got the DIY workshop, and then what happens is once you get the basics, I think it's important, once you get the basics, I don't really invite people into the community. You can't see that link until you've gone through that, just so that you understand. And then there's a little secret button that you can get an invite into our community. So what's been your experience of that so far?
So I'm a real next shiny thing person, and I know it, and I really, really, really have to rein myself in. So in January this year, I said to myself, I'm definitely not, under any circumstances, signing up for any courses, challenges, or anything else, because I have to concentrate. So obviously I did. And then I signed up for your thing, and I went, oh, that's really good value, and she seems lovely, and it would be a really useful skill, and it'd be something to do, and yeah, I'll do that. But I'm definitely not signing up for any monthly, absolutely not. No, I'm just going to do this, which I did. And I published it, and I was like, oh, I thought I'll publish another one. I thought, I wonder if you can do that. And then I thought, well, if I join that Facebook group, then I could ask Kat. So I thought, well, I'll do it for a month. I'm just going to do it for a month, and I'm not going to start. And because you're brilliant, because A, you've got all the structure of Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays. B, actually, you do help at other times if someone goes,
oh yeah.
But it meant that, and there was so much in there, and things like the cover creator and the all these things. And I was just brilliant. And now it's really important to me. And I get to the point, I'm like, I must get this book published, otherwise it won't be out for Tuesday. And if it's not out for Tuesday, I can't put it on Kat's thing. This weekend, I'm too late, I'm sure. I put one out on, finished it Saturday, so it probably won't be done for Tuesday, but it might just creep in.
Yeah, so this is what's really interesting. So I've got a Tuesday showcase every week. The key to it is we share we share our books that we've just published and gone live.
Oh,
They have to have,
things.
yeah, they have to have gone live, and then it inspires other people to say, oh wow, I hadn't thought of that, or what a gorgeous cover, or hadn't, you know, feel inspired. Also, people buy one another's books, which is lovely. And the whole point is then I take that and I give it a bit of a social boost across our Pinterest, our dedicated Pinterest board. So it's a little perk for the community. But what's really interesting, I hadn't thought about this, even though we do this every Tuesday, folks, the panic of people, my book's almost live, it's still a review, will I make this Tuesday's thread? And I end up having to cut off the comment, and because people will just add them in on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I'm like, like,
so I was like, I'll put it in anyway, it's 5 to 11, it's still Tuesday, and I'm so
funny, everybody's like, no, it's still Tuesday at midnight. I'm thinking, no, I've shut that off, because you'll just all add them in and then I'll miss them to add them to the Pinterest queue. But I had never anticipated that there was just so much excitement around getting your books ready for a Tuesday. But I'm also glad, because it means then that there's a bit of a you know, accountability and a bit of a deadline to say, right, come on, get another book made.
Well, certainly, yes. I mean, you know, on a Friday, if you're going to do this, you need to do this now. Come on, you know. But this weekend, I was trying to be too clever, and I was trying to do a copy of the cover image on the first page, and it worked on the first one. It worked really well. I don't think you can see. So like that's like a.
Oh, this is your. Oh yeah, right. I see.
Sort of like a gritty thing, and then I managed to do I don't know if you can see underneath.
How professional does that look?
Well, it does, but it's a nightmare. And the trouble is, I can't remember exactly how I did it, and consequently, it wouldn't let me do it with the different picture for the new one. So the new one hasn't got it at the minute, because I just gave. That was what it was. I was trying, and then I thought, no, take the picture out, publish it. You can always come back and add it in later, but if you don't publish it now, it won't be ready for Tuesday.
So I had no idea I was creating this real kind of angst around a Tuesday where people are fighting to get to the deadline. That's really, really funny. But yeah, I was beginning to get a sense of it in the group, and I thought, what is going on? But no, I need my book published. I want it up there for Tuesday. So I love that. It's a little bit of unintentional accountability, and we get to inspire one another. And as Cathy said there, you know, the whole point about the community is, once you get the basics, you think, actually, I've got lots and lots of questions. And obviously, I can't do that. I can't kind of be there and give that one-to-one or that group support at that really accessible price, which is why the community, even though, you know, it's still a reasonable price, but it means that you can get access to all the perks, access to me to answer questions, and I'll go and find the answer, even if I don't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, you did that for me.
Yeah.
I worked for something I sort of said you, and I was really impressed by that as well, that you were just like, no, I don't know, I'll go and find out. Because the dot grid that we thought worked, it's wrong, and you obviously had as much trouble with it as I did.
Absolutely. It was a template that I'd wanted to share for the Cathy went in to use it, and for some reason it was corrupted in some way. It wouldn't work. It wasn't publishing well. So yeah, of course I'm going to go and fix that for the group, and that's the whole point about it. Then you.
But it was brilliant, because you were right on it, and I would have struggled away with that for weeks. You know, sort of trying to, because I can get a bit dug in sometimes.
We aim to please. We aim to. Part of the community.
No, that's lovely. And also, it's just a handy, you know, when the sort of any questions day, it's a bit like, oh, actually, no, can you?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I like. It's been able to, so that we can ask questions, we can get answers. Other people can either answer or give us a little bit of guidance on certain things because of their skill set or strengths, as we're all learning. But yeah, it's just, there's a lovely feeling in there, and people like Cathy, you know, you're creating that for me, just because you're showing up and you're doing the stuff and you're creating your books, and just a genuine excitement about you know, the stationery. I feel as if I've gathered all the stationery addicts into my little world. And, you know,
I went to join you. You said last week to join the bullet journaling community. I'm not sure I can stay there too long.
Yeah, it can kind of be a digital rabbit hole. There's a balance between, so if you're making dot grids, what I suggested to Cathy was you might want to go and hang out in some of those groups and just see what they're talking about, and see what you can learn to adapt your own books. but oh, it's another digital rabbit hole that you can end up, especially if you get shiny object syndrome, Cathy. You don't want to kind of get stuck in there for too long. But that's the point. It's like, go and hang out where your people are hanging out. It's kind of rule number one about business. If you're making a product for somebody, go and hang out and ask them questions. Go, you know, you're not going into groups to spam them as they buy all my books or my notebooks or whatever, but you get in there to hang out and say, do people use this? Do people really need this? What's that setup all about? All of these kind of things are good questions. So if you were telling somebody who'd never heard about branded books before and they were interested maybe in joining our little DIY workshopping community, what advice would you give them, Cathy? What would you tell them?
Oh, absolutely do it. I mean, I think you've seen me jump in on things all over the place. I think almost anybody who still works in paper. I mean, I suppose there are people who are totally digital now who think notebooks are a thing of the past. But if we ignore all of those, anybody could use it. And in fact, funnily enough, gone completely full circle and started thinking about doing some for my opticians, because I work with children who have colour vision problems for reading, so dyslexia and things. And I found myself in the shower going, I think I could do a sort of a reading challengey kind of, how are you feeling on about reading and what symptoms and what, and it's like, oh,
but that's it. Once you understand it, when your imagination starts to spark about, because what I love is exactly that. You took it and you ran with it in the cruising world, but actually if your business is in that opticians, what else can you do? You know, there's so many options, and that's great.
Generally, what else? You know, doesn't have to be almost tied to a business. I mean, I'm lucky in that I've got the Port Explore. I've called it Port Explore Press. So, I mean, yes, Port Explore sounds like cruising if you're writing about cruising, but if you're not writing about cruising, it just sounds like a word, really, I suppose. So you suddenly think, well, actually, people have books for this and books for that. You've only got to go, I mean, again, rabbit hole, you've only got to go and start searching for Notebook on Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, who knew?
So many ideas, and that's it. It's about opening up that, just opening up your mind to it. And the closer for me was always, whether you're a stationery addict or whether you've got something that's really complementary to your business or you want to make something completely niche, the point is Amazon give you a free platform to use to do this. You can use completely free tools. Of course you can pay for help, but actually I teach you how to do it completely free.
Yeah.
And Amazon have got, was it 197 million users come every month? And that was stats that I got ages ago, and that's only going to have increased because of the context that we're currently operating in. But yeah, why would you not get even 0.01% of that coming by your books? And it doesn't happen overnight, so I'm always really transparent about that. You'll agree, Cathy, when you make your books, it's not like you suddenly sell 1 million and you can shut up shop and you know, it's done.
Books generally, I mean, and you know, you aren't going to get rich on publishing books full stop unless you're you know, someone who really is fairly well known anyway, and that's why they've published your book. I mean, it's kind of switched that way around. I'm not talking about fiction, obviously with fiction things, amazing things can happen, but non-fiction books, you're never going to get rich. Notebooks, things like that, but as long as it is a little recurring income and it's just tuttling away in the back, and from my point of view, it just gives you exposure, and suddenly people can go, oh, you're the book lady. And then you know, so back earlier in the year, I got a big invite to the launch of a new cruise ship, the Virgin Voyagers, which actually still hasn't gone yet because it's now got impounded off Miami. But and that was purely and simply because people had seen my name through books. So there's other benefits other than financial to any business of keeping your name in the forefront, and things like this as giveaways even.
I think that's it. It's a lovely gift, something, you know, in a world of digital media, what a lovely thing to land on the doorstep, that you can actually send somebody as a gift and get your name out there, and I love that. So the financial thing takes its time. You have to kind of build that up. I've been doing this for 2 and a bit years, so it's kind of like I always say to people, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10 if we're using book analogies. But but it is a something, and it can be consistent if you can put in a little bit of work. I'm not saying hard work, just a little bit of work, because it's fun as you go along. But yeah, the benefits of your name being known, and it kind of positions yourself as an expert, which is what it's really done for you as well, because you've already been known, but actually it's almost raised that up a level just by the books and people attaching your name to that, and it really positions you.
I think people need an easy tag for you. Do you know what I mean? I think people need to be able to go, oh, she's the one that...
Yeah.
And so actually things like that with worksheets or workbooks or notebooks or whatever you're doing, it's suddenly like, oh yes, that. Yeah. And it's a very, very visual thing that they can kind of attach to your name and your...
Yeah, because if they don't remember your name, they'll remember something about you. And as you say, that little tag about it, because I've become the branded books lady. Do you know?
Yeah, well, all the things you do. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I can't remember. Is that Cat? Don't know, branded books lady. So it does work, and it positions you in a certain space, doesn't it? So to wrap up then, what would be your top tip to MD who's thinking about it then, Cathy? What would be your...
Do it. Just do it. Do it. Yeah, just do it, and make a little notebook and have it and use it and be proud of it, and then make lots more.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. So please go and follow Cathy. I'll put up some links to all her amazing stuff. Go and have a look. Even if you're not into cruising or you're thinking about cruising when it comes back, because it will be back, go and have a look at her notebooks. You've seen some of the props today. They're absolutely gorgeous and they stand out. So go and check her out. If you're interested in joining our little DIY workshop, Branded Books and the community, then please check us out. You can either go to straighttalkingginger.com and there's a link to the shop in there, or invariably the link will be kicking about somewhere because I talk about it all the time because I'm so passionate about it. So thank you so much, and that's been awesome.
Bye.